Was I muted that entire time? Oh boy. Sorry about that. Yes, thank you, Curveball. Yeah, I was muted. Sorry about that. There we go. You can all hear me? All right, great. Anyways, technical difficulties out of the way. Welcome back to the show. So what has transpired in the last 48 hours? I mean, on the Canes front, not that much, but on the around the nation, quite a bit. I mean, it looks like all of Texas A&M's roster has hit the portal. Manny Diaz looks like he's going to be the next Duke head coach. I don't know if that's like officially a done deal already, which is interesting because we play Duke this year. So looking forward to that. Yes, Patrick Payton. That was another thing that went down this week. That he made a tweet saying that he's likely going to enter the portal, and then he took it down. So maybe he's not. So I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, lots to get into. But as for the Canes themselves, the big news, which hit the news cycle like within the last few hours, was that Cam Ward, Miami's number one QB target, has it's been said, it's been announced that he is in the works to line up an official visit to Miami. I was trying to figure out the right way to say that. I don't think it's officially happening yet, but it looks like they're working on him coming down to Miami for an official visit for this weekend. So that's pretty big because we already know that CJ Clark, that D tackle from NC State, which is another position in need, he should be visiting this weekend along with a few other guys. So this weekend's going to be big. Then he's going to bust out the devil turnover chain. They probably will have their own version of the turnover chain. We getting Ward? I hope so, Mitchell. I hope so. He's the number one guy on Miami's board as far as quarterback options. He is number one on my board as well. And for the record, I really do like Will Howard. I know he's number two on Miami's board. At least that's what it seems like. So if we land him, I won't be upset at all. Hell, if we land Daquan Finn, I won't be upset at all. The more tape I watch on those guys, the more I like them. I'm zeroing in more and more on kind of those three guys. As for anybody outside of that, it's like, well, yeah, no, I really like under the radar guys. I really like Blake Shapen a lot. I watched some, a couple of condensed games with him last year, and he really impressed me. His arm, his ball placement, the way he goes through his reads. He goes through 4 or 5 reads like that. Blake Shapen's really impressive, but I don't see us. We're going whale hunting. I don't see us going after a smaller name, which even though, financially it might make sense for our system, it might make sense. You got to get a guy that makes sense in that department, but also is kind of a big name, has some notoriety, because you want to make some kind of a splash. If Miami can make a splash at the quarterback position, that would create a massive, just tidal wave kind of momentum heading into the 2024-2025 recruiting cycle and transfer portal cycle. Moving forward, if you land a guy that you're like, oh, he can take us to the dance this year, say it's Cam Ward, then a guy like this man, Jeremiah Smith. Exactly. Curveball. That's exactly what I'm getting at. You get a whale of a name at quarterback, then you got the juice to maybe flip a guy like Jeremiah Smith, who right now and has always been committed to Ohio State. I really don't know what's going to happen there. A lot of people think, well, it's likely he just sticks with Ohio State and he's just kind of hearing everybody's offer. But I don't know. I feel like I have a weird feeling about that one. Let's just say that. But man, we are big game hunting right now at quarterback. For those people that think, I don't think this is the perception anymore. It was a few days ago that we're just kind of sitting on our hands and waiting. That is definitely not the case. Miami is being aggressive. You can rest assured of that. Mitch, a bit early, but this upcoming season, a playoff berth with a new system or bust. Playoff or bust. I mean, this will be a great opportunity for Miami to make the playoff because obviously 12-team playoff, it really opens up the field. And it just so happens to coincide with a season where I think we're going to have one of our better rosters that we've had in a long time. And it's going to coincide with us going for and hopefully landing a top portal quarterback, a top, yes, and the schedule. I wouldn't call it weak, but the schedule is favorable. There's a few tough tests in that schedule, but there's no like, oh my God, we're facing top 5 Clemson, like Clemson from 5 years ago. We're facing um, FSU from last year. No, there's none of those that you're just like, yep, that's a loss. Nope. There's none of those on the upcoming schedule. Right. No Clemson or North Carolina, although I would love to play North Carolina with Max Johnson. I would love another crack at Matt Brown. But let's see. Seeing how the ACC was this year, our schedule this year was weak. You think this coming season is weak, or the one we just had was weak? Because I think the ACC looked the strongest it's looked in like over a decade, in my opinion. Louisville's much improved. FSU was top 5 when Travis was healthy. The one we just had, I disagree, man. I think our schedule in 2023 was a lot tougher than 2022, in my opinion. That's why, I know we were a kneel down away from being 8-4, and we should have been, but I just feel like we went for 2022. We went 5-7 and got our butts handed to us almost on a weekly basis. And the teams we were facing, some of them, we were getting our butts handed to us by teams that weren't very strong. But this year, I feel like the schedule was a little tougher, but we got better. We went 7-5, and every game was competitive. We faced a couple of top 10 teams. We faced a top 5 team on the road, and the games were competitive. The only game that kind of wasn't competitive, but we kind of scratched and clawed our way back into it at the end, was North Carolina. But then North Carolina fell off a cliff. I don't know what happened to them. NC State ended up being ranked. We played them on the road. Clemson ended up being ranked. They got hot at the end. Yes, Mitchell, I agree. Everybody was beatable, but I don't think it's so much that the ACC was worse. It wasn't. The ACC got a lot better this year. I think it's because we got better. We got better, and it made those teams seem a little more human. We had a top 20 defense and one of the better O-lines in the country. Those two things alone make a huge difference. John, do we realistically have a chance to beat Rutgers in the bowl game? Dude, it's Rutgers. They're not good. We're favored, I think, by like 4 points or something. It's not a big margin, but yeah, if we play to the potential, if we play to our potential, yeah, we should beat them by like 3 touchdowns. I'm not shy about saying that. This game should be a blowout, but let's be a little real here. It is a bowl game. A lot of guys are opting out. It is Ja'Carri Brown starting, who hasn't played a game all season. But if you get a similar Ja'Carri Brown that played against Georgia Tech last year, if you get something in that neighborhood, we can grind out like a 24-13 victory. Rutgers is a well-coached, scrappy team. They're going to be physical, but I really don't see them being too big of a threat, at least on offense. I think if our defense just comes to play, we'll be fine. We just got to get on the board offensively, score a couple of touchdowns, get on the board early, and just kind of stay ahead. I think we'll be okay. The conditions won't allow it to be a shootout, in my opinion. I think this will be a relatively defensive, low-scoring game. Let's see. Any word from what X is doing? Draft are coming back. I haven't heard anything yet. If I were Xavier Restrepo, if those are my two choices, let's see, what was it? Draft or come back? Um, man, after the season I just had, if I'm X, I'd take my chances with the draft, man. I mean, he was first team all ACC. He was arguably the best slot receiver in the country with the numbers that he put up over 1,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and for a dude that, physically gives up his body like the way he does, I would take my chances in the draft, honestly. And you got these guys behind you. And look, TVD's no longer around, so you don't have that quarterback that has that like crazy, like special rapport with you. So that's another factor you gotta look at. And you also have these talented, fast young men coming up right behind you. You got Bouchard. I don't know if he's staying or going. Jury's still out on that. You got Ray Joseph, who looked nice as a returner. I think he's going to get more snaps. You got Nye Carr coming in as a true freshman. He's going to get some snaps. He will. Um, Jojo Trader, Chance Robinson, all guys that can, you can play outside, but you can move them into the slot, So he knows what's coming behind him. And it's no joke. So if I'm X, I would honestly take my chances with the draft. If it were me, that's what I would do. If he decides to come back, great. You got a awesome, reliable slot receiver. Fantastic. And you got depth in that room. But to answer your question, Robbie Dukes, yeah. Do we have it? Of course we have a chance. Look, every team is banged up right now. We should definitely be able to beat Rutgers even with Jakari Brown at quarterback. If we play to our potential, if we take the game seriously, if we prepare. If not, then, it's going to be a repeat of the last bowl games. But look, Rutgers is not Wisconsin of 5 years ago, okay? It's just not the same thing. For next year, the Gator game might be our toughest game. I don't know about that. The Gators are in pretty bad shape. I don't know if Billy Napier makes it through the 2024 season. That might be his last chance to like kind of save his job. It is in the swamp. That's no joke, but I don't think it's a game we should win. Definitely. I don't call it a must. I don't like to call the opening game of the season a must win, but it's kind of a must win there because they're so down right now. You got to like step on them while they're down. So Gator game is a game we got to win. Toughest game it's with FSU at home. At least that's the way it looks right now. There's no like huge non-conference game aside from Florida. That's outside of the ACC. That's our toughest test, honestly. Like you guys are saying, no one on the 2024 schedule really scares me, which brings me back to my original point. This all coincides with the playoff expanding to 12 teams. Do we have a chance? Absolutely. I think that would be making that playoff would make this a hugely successful season. Is it playoff or bust? I don't know. I don't know about that. I just want to see this past season, I wanted to see progress, and I got that. Could have been better, could have been a lot prettier. It wasn't, but I saw progress. And some things that don't necessarily show up on the scoreboard. I saw more toughness. I saw more physicality, which has been missing from this program for many, many years. And that made me happy. And I know we were a quarterback away from having a 9-10 win season. We had everything else. O-line, receivers, running back. We had everything else. Kicker, punter. We were good roster-wise. It's just get the quarterback. And on top of that, we will have an even better roster than we just had. With the guys that are coming in with this incoming recruiting class and with who I think we may be getting in the portal. Yes, this roster is going to be upgraded again. Gators have the toughest schedule ever. Yeah, I think the Gators have the number one toughest schedule or number one strength of schedule as of now for 2024. And the funny thing is, Gator fans are kind of thinking, oh, at least we get a break starting with Miami. Oh my God. They don't know what's coming. That's funny. Robbie Dukes, John, looking at the schedule, do you think 9 wins is possible? I think 9 wins should honestly be the floor. It should be, if there's anything that needs to happen, it's like nine wins or bust. 9 wins is like the floor for next season. I'm thinking closer to 10 because I'm looking at that schedule. Of course, we haven't gotten our quarterback yet. Once we get that quarterback, I will have a better idea and answer that more accurately. But as of now, yeah, at least just the overall standard for the program has to be at least that, Robbie. Let's see. Kobe Young can go to the NFL draft. Would love a 6'5" receiver. Kobe, I don't know if he has enough good tape yet to take his chances at the draft. I think he would make a great NFL receiver, but I think he needs a little bit more developing. Jacoby George, he could get drafted, but both those guys could benefit from another year. Jacoby George, if he keeps on the trajectory that he's on, he could be a 900 yard to 1,000 yard guy next season. 9 or 10 wins or is a bust. I agree, workforce. I think that should be the standard heading into year 3. Arroyo and Restrepo league. Arroyo hasn't played enough. Restrepo, yes. If I'm him, that's what I would do. Let's see. Chris Gons, go Canes. John, you think Mario and Miami go after Ja'Cory Brooks in the transfer portal? Ja'Cory Brooks, that's the Ja'Cory Brooks from Booker T. Washington that is a wide receiver at Alabama. Did he hit the portal, or am I thinking of a different guy? Am I thinking of the hang on, let me look this up. While you guys send in your questions, Ja'Cory Curveball says, yes, he did hit the portal. Oh, I got to look at this. Ja'Cory Brooks. Oh, my God. Alabama receiver Ja'Cory Brooks has entered the transfer portal. Oh, my good googly moogly. That is huge. I mean, if you've seen him play, that dude's an absolute freaking beast. Let's see. He had 3 catches for 30 yards for the season. I know 2022 he had 2022 39 catches, 674 yards. I watched some Alabama games, but was he hurt this season? Is that why his stats were so low? Or was it that they just didn't have like the best passing offense? It could be that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, Ja'Cory Brooks is an absolute beast. I love that dude. But if you're asking, well, yeah, I guess your question was, do you think Miami would go after him? I mean, as a hometown kid, why not? Why not? I mean, that's a dude that has the talent to come in and be wide receiver 1 on day 1. I love our room the way it is. If we don't go get a transfer portal guy, I'll be okay with it. But I think we should go out and get one guy. I don't think we need to, add multiple pieces or anything like we did last year. I don't think we need to add like extra depth. I think if we can go, kind of cherry pick one like super talented dude, I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks would be kind of perfect, honestly. But yeah, John, I think he had injuries. He must have, because he only had 3 catches for 30 yards after a 674-yard season as a sophomore. Yeah, he must have been hurt. I'll have to look more into that, like what his injuries were. But if it's something that he's healing from, yeah, Ja'Cory Brooks, my answer is yes. I would absolutely go after him. That dude's different. I mean, as a true freshman, I think he had the game-winning touchdown against Auburn in 2021, that crazy back and forth game that they had. Yeah, no, Ja'Cory's a stud. He's been different since high school. Let's see. Manny Diaz to Duke. All jokes aside, he's probably better fit to recruit those types of players rather than Miami players, even though he's from Miami. Maybe. Honestly, I think that's where Manny Diaz honestly should have started. Like that level of college football, that's where he should have started his head coaching career. Honestly, Staying at Temple would have been a better move for him, really cutting his teeth there than maybe going up to a Power Five school like Duke. I think it would have gone much better for him. Yes, Manny made a ton of mistakes here, and he was not a good head coach by any means. However, he was restricted financially. He wanted to put together, you know, he wanted to go after assistant coaches that would have cost a lot more money. And he just wasn't getting that. He wasn't getting the funding. And the the upper management, let's say, people running the school just didn't care about athletics the way they do now. So he was, to be fair, he was held back by all those things. But um, yeah, it did not go very well for him here. We all know that. He's going to kill it at Duke. You know what? After a couple of years, he might, because I think Duke is going to give him a lot of time. I will give this one thing to Manny. Manny can recruit. There were certain, excuse me, there were certain positions he was super stubborn about. For whatever reason, we never recruited good linebackers when he was here. And I know receiver, we kind of had, certain positions, we kind of had issues getting top guys for whatever reason, because he got top guys at like safety and running back and all those things. So it was weird. John, is Manny going to be a problem recruiting against him? Yeah, he could pose a little bit of a challenge, not early on because he's at Duke, let's be honest. But if he starts building what like if he kind of continues where Mike Elko left off, which won't be easy because um you lose Riley Leonard and you lose some other guys. He's kind of hitting the reset button over there, but this is now Duke seems to be now investing a little more in their program because they're going after a guy who's, a Broyles Award finalist in Manny Diaz. He's one of the better defensive coordinators in the country still. Well liked by players for the most part. I honestly, all jokes aside, this is a good hire. And it seems like the school's backing them, and they're probably gonna invest more in being a basketball school. They're gonna invest more in football now. So yeah, if they give him time after a few years, yeah, he could be tough to recruit against, especially with the South Florida ties he has. Brooks had nagging shoulder injuries in 2023. Got it. Let's see. Every kid. That is true. Duke has higher academic standards. That is true. Duke has been a 9-7 win team. Is not like he's really rebuilding. Yeah, but like I said, he just lost Riley Leonard, and that was a big reason for their success the last couple of years. John, I think Manny got the ball rolling with the transfer portal thing. You could be right. He was kind of a pioneer with that down here. We were transfer portal U for a couple of years there. Let's see. We have high standards, but their admissions are very tough. Let's see if I missed anything here. Nope, I think I'm good. Yeah. So, okay, I'll be on for like 5 or 6 more minutes. I just wanted to do like a quick half hour with you guys. Really nothing huge to report just yet. Let's see. Toby, what safeties are you looking at in the portal? I love Dunham. Is Dunham the kid from Indiana? Because if we're thinking of the same kid, yeah, I really like him too. There's the kid from Vanderbilt. I like. I can't. There's so many names in my head. Savion, I think is his name. And I think he was planning on visiting, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I like both safeties. I watched a little film on both, and we have potentially a great corner tandem coming back with Damari Brown and Daryl Porter. So I'm not as worried about safety. If you just go get me a veteran, reliable guy who's a short tackler, he doesn't get beat over the top, who's smart, he's experienced, so he can help line up the defense a little bit. Get me a safety like that. You don't need to replace Cam Kitchens, because it's very hard to replace a Cam Kitchens with a 1-year rental. You almost can't do that. Yes, Dunham is from Indiana. Okay, yeah. No, I like that kid a lot. The D tackle from Middle Tennessee. I know who you're talking about. Um, yeah, I mean, if we can bring in a Thomas Gore and he looks good at 6 foot nothing coming out of a very small school, he comes in and looks good. Look, if I trust our player evaluations, if Zoe and Mario and and JT and Salavea, if they look at this kid and they're like, "Yep, we want him," um, why not? Why not? I think he's the kid that had the pick six early in that game against us, and he had like a couple of sacks, and he wreaked havoc against us. Um, yeah, if you can bring him in, and then maybe the Clark from NC State, I'm good at D tackle. We're ready to roll. Get me those two. Convince our starting corners, Damari Brown and Daryl Porter, which I think I feel pretty good about them sticking around. I like our defense right there. If you convince Kiko Mauinoa to stay one more year, ooh, I really like our defense next year. John, I heard Walter Nolan. Oh yeah, no, Walter Nolan's been in the transfer portal since earlier this week, since the portal opened, like right away. Yeah, Walter Nolan. That's going to command quite a bit of NIL funds and a lot of he's a big time target. I'm sure we're talking to him. Is Mincy a commitment? You mean Xavier Mincy, the kid who's been? I don't think he's committed to Florida. Is he committed to Florida? I see crystal balls of him to Florida, or they've had him leaning to Florida. But yeah, I feel pretty good where we're at with Zay Mincy from what I've been hearing. Funny you mentioned him because I actually was watching some of his tape today. I had watched it before. It had been a while since I really looked into Zay Mincy. I was bored, a little downtime at the office, so I looked into a couple of players. Him specifically, I looked at his tape. His play recognition is like next level. His eye discipline, his ability to stay run stride for stride with receivers, his quick hips, his Zay Mincy looks like a third-year college player, the way he plays the cornerback position. And he's listed as a safety. Like, he can do both. Love his versatility. I'm sure that's what Miami likes about him. They like to be able to cross-train guys because that helps with depth. But I feel good where we're at with Zay Mincy. If I'm predicting a flip, because actually, let me look it up right now. Is Xavier Mincy? Let me see if I beat you guys to it. Is Xavier Mincy committed to Florida? Xavier Mincy 2024. He is not committed. He just has crystal ball. He has a crystal ball prediction to Florida. Number 56 recruit overall. Man, he's shot up the rankings. 6'3", 180. Yeah, would love that in our safety room. Let's see, would you have taken Frank Gore Jr. if he had not left for the draft? Now with our current running back situation, honestly, I think we're very deep. We already got two guys in the class that look pretty locked in with Wheatley Humphrey and Kevin Riley. Both, especially Kevin Riley, has superstar potential written all over him. Wheatley Humphrey just is an absolute burner. And then you might add Jordan Lyle. So that's three guys coming in already. And guys are going to stick around because they're young, Then you got Trevante. Then you got Henry Parrish. Then you got Mark Fletcher, who's your running back one. Then you got AJ Allen, which of those guys, yeah, I'm sure someone's going to leave. I don't think they're going to have 7 or 8 running backs going into next year, but I think they at least have a good 6. So no, I don't think I wouldn't have taken Frank Gore, just not because I don't think he's a good player. I think Frank Gore's really good and could do very well in the Power 5 if he just did it as like a 1-year thing to raise his draft stock. But our situation, I think we're good. We're stacked at that position. There's just no room for him. I like him though. Frank Gore Jr. I think will have a nice little NFL career. Have you checked out the big D tackle that's committed to FSU? We're looking at. I know who you're talking about. I haven't looked into like his tape or anything like that, like anything deep like that. I know of him. Um, and I know again, that's another one. I think he's more like a 3-star, like underrated guy, but he's got size. He's got the kind of size that Mario wants. I can see they're trying to get more of those like big zero technique, one technique kind of D tackles that are like space fillers because that's kind of what our D line is missing. But no, I don't know a ton about him, about his play. I would be lying to you if I said like, oh, I saw his tape and I love it. I haven't been able to see his tape just yet, but I know who you're talking about. Let's see. Okay, Blunt he was a Miami commit flip to FSU. We were trying to flip him back. Wait, hang on. Toby, were you talking about Blunt? Because I'm thinking because there's another D tackle. Nah, I wasn't thinking about Blunt. If you're thinking about Blunt, yeah, obviously that's a huge, high-profile target that we are trying to flip back to us. I think there's a decent chance there. There's definitely a shot. That would be such a that would be such a gut punch. No, not Blunt, the 3-star kid. I had a feeling you were talking about him, but yeah, no, I haven't been able to watch too much tape on the 3-star kid. But about Blunt, while I'm on the subject, what a gut punch that would be to FSU if they got him and then we steal him right back. That would be great. But let's see what he decides. How many defensive tackles are we taking from the portal? Sigmund asks. I think we take 2 because honestly, I think with 2 we're pretty solid. Because you're bringing in a nice haul from the high school ranks. Remember, you still do have Joshua Horton. You do have Jared Harrison Hunt. So, I'm trying to think who else. Jared Harrison, I mean, he hasn't announced what he's doing yet. He can stay for another year. I think he will, which will be great for us because he had such a good season. I would love to have one more year of him. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, maybe as like a depth piece, we get a third, but you're bringing in some talented. I mean, Justin Scott is going to be in the fold, and he's gonna Moten. Thank you. I knew there was another guy, like big dude, like Ahmad Moten. How could I forget Ahmad? That's our dude. Love Ahmad. I think he improved this year. He showed some progress, and I can't wait to see him in year 3. But yeah, no, maybe a third just as like a little depth piece. But honestly, Justin Scott, I think will get in the rotation early. You got Ruben Bain, who is kind of inside outside. He's kind of a combo guy. But I think this year he may come more off the edge. And then you got the kid we flipped from Michigan. He didn't play this year. Achimpong Collins. I see D tackle written all over that kid. That dude, when he finishes filling out and he's ready to step on the field, he's going to be a problem. Bama just had another one hit the portal. Ja'Cory Brooks or someone after Ja'Cory Brooks? Let's see. How much? We will have a better idea. Yep. No, totally agree. Totally agree. We're first. I think we're all going to have a better idea going into this weekend. From what I'm hearing, Danas White, that's his name. Thank you, Toby. Yeah, he's huge, man. I really like his size. I think we take 2 D tackles too. Yeah. 2 D tackles again that are going to either start or be heavy rotation guys. One of the 2 for sure will be our main like starter, if nothing else, to put next to Jared Harrison Hunt. Excuse me. Oh, Isaiah Hastings. Oh yeah, I saw that. That was a little before Ja'Cory Brooks, I think. Isaiah Hastings, and I'll end on this. Isaiah Hastings was another guy that we were after. I remember his name pop up a lot in the 2022 cycle. Another guy I would not mind having him come in. But yeah, aside from that, guys, nothing. I was hoping there'd be something like huge to report tonight. Hey, the Ja'Cory Brooks news I think is pretty big, but yeah, nothing crazy to report. I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit of portal, a little bit of recruiting, and I'll probably come on again this weekend. Maybe I'll do a show on Saturday. I'll let you guys know if I get a chance in the afternoon. I can do that. I got a busy day on Saturday, but I really feel like we are really close to getting some good news. I think by the Sunday show with Flo, we're going to be celebrating some kind of good news. I don't know if it'll be our quarterback. Um, I don't know if it's going to be curveball chat. Yeah, the chat gave me the news this time. That's how the portal season is, folks. Look, this thing is fluid. It is changing to the minute. Like I could spend the whole time like on the phone, like looking stuff up myself. Well, that'll be a boring show. You guys, obviously, you're part of the show, so you help. You know, if news drops while I'm here and I can't look it up, that's big. So thank you. Thanks, John. I hope we get Cam. I hope Cam Ward. Yeah, I hope that's the news before the weekend's out. But I think we're going to be celebrating some kind of good news come Sunday night. That's my feel. And hopefully that's the case. So anyway, guys, thanks again. Go Canes. Go enjoy your evenings, and well, let's see what happens in the next 72 hours or so. Take care, guys. Have a good night.